All right, today we're jumping into one of the most intense, high-stakes economic debates happening in Japan right now, and that is the hugely controversial idea of creating a massive national investment fund.
So let's get right into it. The whole thing boils down to a 200 trillion yen question. We're talking about roughly 1.3 trillion US dollars here. Is creating a giant sovereign wealth fund a brilliant strategic investment in the nation's future? Or is it just a reckless gamble with the public's money? The stakes here are absolutely massive.
Okay, so first things first, what even is a sovereign wealth fund, or an SWF? Well, think of it as a giant state-owned investment portfolio. A country takes its wealth, from things like foreign currency reserves, and invests it in assets all over the world. You've probably heard of the really successful ones in places like Norway, Singapore, and the UAE. They've basically turned national savings into these powerful engines for growth.
To really get this debate, let's look at both sides. We'll start with the case for it. The people who support this idea, they see it as this incredible opportunity. They talk about using the nation's immense wealth as seeds for the future.
And when they say immense wealth, they are not kidding. We're looking at around 200 trillion yen in public funds, mostly tied up in pension assets and foreign reserves. The core argument from the supporters is that this gigantic pile of cash is just sitting there, being managed way too conservatively. And because of that, Japan is missing out on some huge opportunities for growth.
See, this isn't just about finding a few better stocks to buy. It's about a complete change in mindset. Supporters are pushing for, and this is a quote you hear a lot, a paradigm shift from safe storage to strategic management of our nation's wealth. The idea is to stop just hoarding assets for safety and start putting that money to work.
So where would all this money actually go? Well, the vision isn't just to buy more of the usual stocks and bonds. It's about making really strategic long-term bets on industries that could seriously boost Japan's competitiveness on the world stage. We're talking about things like cutting-edge decarbonization tech, quantum computing, bringing semiconductor manufacturing back in a big way, and even investing in people through education.
Okay, but that's only one side of the story. For every argument in favor, there's a really powerful counter-argument. The opponents of this plan, well, they don't see a bold investment. They see a disaster waiting to happen. For them, the question is simple. Is this a visionary plan, or is it just a feel-good illusion that could put the whole country's financial stability at risk?
And the main argument from the opposition really comes down to one word: purpose. Japan already has a massive pension fund, the GPIF, and its job, its one sacred duty, is to get stable, safe returns for pensioners. Safety is everything. But this proposed new fund, it would have a totally different mission, chasing high-risk, high-return growth for the nation. And for critics, that switch from safety to risk isn't just a strategy change, it's a giant flashing red flag.
And this brings up a huge cloud hanging over this whole thing: trust. Critics are very quick to point to Japan's history of public funds that just didn't work out. And they're asking a really tough question. What's going to stop this new fund from just becoming a piggy bank for politicians to fund their pet projects? Can something this big ever really be free from political pressure?
Then you've got this number, 260%. That is Japan's national debt as a percentage of its entire economy. It is the highest in the developed world, by a lot. So opponents are saying, wait a minute, with that kind of debt, should the government really be focused on making risky bets, or should it be focused on getting its own financial house in order?
For the critics, it all really comes down to this one very alarming thought. The fear is that this fund is not a future investment, it's just asking the public's money to take on a risk that private capital won't. In other words, you'd be gambling people's retirement savings on ventures that the private market has already looked at and decided are way too risky.
So when you strip away all the numbers and the jargon, this entire debate really boils down to a core dilemma. It's a fundamental choice for the nation between playing offense and playing defense.
And you can see it right here. On one side, you have the vision. That's the offensive strategy, the idea to boldly invest for future growth. And on the other side, you have the reality. That's the defensive strategy, to prudently and carefully manage the very real financial problems the country faces today. So this isn't just some dry policy debate. It's a deep clash of philosophies about what Japan's #1 priority should be.
So in the end, this is so much more than just a financial decision. It's really a question about national identity. Should Japan be the bold innovator, playing offense by betting its wealth on what's next? Or should it be the prudent steward, playing defense to protect what it already has? There is no easy answer here,
but the path Japan chooses will absolutely define its place in the world for generations to come.